How are y'all doing? So I need y'all to keep y'all's phones out if you put it away. Keep it out. Pull it back out. Now I want you to put it on video mode. Not on me. Put it on yourself. All right. Oh, I'm hands-free now. It's getting dangerous. All right, so everybody is looking at themselves. You see yourself, okay? This is the only time I'm gonna tell you, take your eyes off of me. Look at your phone. And I want you all to say it, try to say it, so you can hear yourself in your own video. I want you to hit record. Start recording now. Say to yourself, I can, I will, I must boss up today. Oh, that was kind of sad. Even you know that, so stop the recording. You know how you do a retake. All right, start recording again. Tell yourself, I can, I will, I must boss up today. Stop recording. Y'all want to know the reality of something? Some of y'all, that video is going to stay in your phone all year. Never to be seen again. I hope it's not true because y'all the ones who made it through Atlanta traffic on time to get rolling. But here's the real thing. Boss not built. This is a reality that oftentimes, if you're not excellent where you are, what makes you think you're going to be excellent out here in these streets if you're trying to be an entrepreneur? The reps of what you're doing now are the reps you need and then some to be successful out here. And so today we're going to transition through several things because who you are is built. It's not assigned to you. It's not given to you. And if you're not intentional about the building of you, then who will be? How many of you have a coach today? Okay. How many of you actually are accountable to the coaching you have today? Yeah, I know. I don't ever ask rhetorical questions, so that was less hands if you were counting. It's interesting because as you listen throughout today, you're going to have a ton of speakers coming up here delivering real, actual, tangible content. And today, you're going to write a bunch of things down, those of you who are note takers. But again, just like other conferences you go to, where are those notes going to live between time? They going to stay on that shelf? They going to stay in your trunk, in your car? Or will you make an intention today to actually do something with it? To actually lead yourself well? Because y'all, leadership is a contact sport. Self-leadership is the most vulnerable thing that you could find yourself doing, especially when you got to tell the truth to yourself that you really not built like that. I know. Some of y'all think you are, but I tell you, your outcomes and your fruit tell me the whole story about you. But here's the deal. We can get through that today. So when you think about being built, not bossed, one of the things, how many of y'all know I transitioned out the Army? That's my foundation. Coming out the Army, one of the things that I got gifted was the ability to say, when in charge, take charge. You can't tell a 24-year-old person like me with a temper, when in charge, take charge. I was a hothead all the time. Well, one thing that I had to learn quickly and fast was just because you can doesn't mean you should. One of the things I had to learn for myself during that transition from the Army to this side of life is understanding that there's a me, but then there's also a we. And the part of this building is the very real reality is I actually didn't have the actual skills to be successful as a good peer and team member for some people. That's a hard pill to swallow. Anybody ever did a 360 evaluation? Anybody, when you got it, you was like, that ain't true. They just hating on me. Where my real ones at? I see my real ones. Yeah, that was me. Y'all, my first one, the actual reality that people told me I was harming them. Psychological safety, everybody heard that phrase before? Yeah, not just a t-shirt. It's an actual thing. I was creating unsafe environments for people. Here was the thing though. I was doing it even when I wasn't in charge. My first job as a civilian, I told the story back in February where, I was a little aggressive. But to the other people that were on that team with me, they didn't want to deal with me at all. Angry. I was every stereotype come to life. Angry black man has an outburst in the office. That was my news headline. That's what I was building. The very real reality that I was not a good teammate. So all the stuff that I used to say, all these leadership books, John Maxwell and all the rest of that stuff, I had them all. But what was I practicing? So today, y'all, set an intention to practice differently. You perform how you practice. It's in the iteration and the reps, and we're gonna go through it. So here's the deal. You talk about the business of you. I read that quote right there. Your career is your company. Your career is your company. What you currently do now, what you currently have on your resume, that's your past performance. How many business owners do I have in here? HR consultants, coaches, trainers. Yeah. There's some qualifiers for me to say yes to you as a consultant. I need to see your resume. I don't want you pontificating to me about what you can do. I want to know what you've done. Because I need to see the value you created in the world before you got to me asking me for a check. Because what I need to understand is if you mishandled your career, you probably gonna mishandle a client. You're like, Lawrence, why are you going so hard so early? It's okay. Because I need y'all to understand that this day is not just about words. It's about action. Do y'all understand what's happening in the world today? Ain't nobody playing with us. So why are you playing with your career? Why are you waiting on somebody else to promote you when they don't know how to handle you? You looking for everything from somebody who can't provide you what you're looking for. So if you're not diversifying how you earn income, you'll never reach what you say you want. So are you treating your career like a company? And if I ask the 3 closest people to you, I ain't talking about your friends. I'm talking about them people that actually work with you. Because in business, you got to ask for past performance history from previous people who actually experienced your work. What would be the 3 words that they use to describe you? Yeah, those words. And so we're going to get into how you can take it well. So there's a hot acronym that I'm a sucker for a good acronym. Anybody else? Or is it just me? I'm by myself. Okay, all right, y'all gonna be with me then. So this understanding that there's an internal transformation that needs to happen before you see an outward manifestation. There's something that needs to happen from the inside out. I won't believe you if you don't. Y'all don't understand how often people DM me on LinkedIn, and I'm not talking about those little spammy people trying to sell me SaaS applications or recruiting talent for me. I'm talking about them ones, hey, I saw you do consulting. I do too. Let's talk. And I'm like, for what? Because I go to your profile too. And Sierra put y'all on free game. See, it's in the moments. Are you capturing your own content before you want to capture content from me? You want my clients, but don't have my history. Make that make sense. And so here's the deal. I'm all about giving people a shot. But I need to know what you're willing to do for it. Are you going to wait on me or are you going to show me? I'm from a show me state. Just lying, I'm from Columbus, Ohio. I just like to use that, right? But before I ever got my first training job corporately, anybody heard of Covenant House? Covenant House, it's a youth homeless shelter. At the Covenant House, they have a program where they have youth who are they're a subset, where they're in transition programming, workforce development, and all these other things. I created, from scratch, an entire development plan for those youth that were in that transition program. I met monthly for an hour and a half, talking them through professional development, personal development, and all the things in between to help them transition well. Who'd I tell about it? Nobody. Nobody. I was working. I needed reps. I created my own user case because I was at the time working in some HR information systems position that I hated. But how was I going to fill the void and I wasn't getting the opportunity at work? I was going to make them give me a training and development job? No. If that's what I said I wanted, I went after it. I created what I believed I was supposed to be doing. See, here's the thing about belief. Again, it's not a belief if you don't. You could talk it all day long, but what does it look like? It looked like work. Show me your fruit. Don't just talk about what you want it to look like, show me. And so, what did that moment prove for me? There's some humility here, growth in progress. I'm not behind, I'm becoming. This ain't just no quote. I'm in constant progress. My first year of business ownership was 2020. I know. I didn't know a pandemic was coming. That was my first year. First 6 months, struggle bus. Struggle bus. I was the driver and passenger. I was wearing it on my face. I was wearing it all over my body. Why? Because I thought I needed to wrap my arms around everything. But it was the humility and understanding, what did I step out for? It was the very real reality that I thought leadership development at the time, I didn't have the research yet. I thought leadership development sucked. Anybody else have that belief about leadership development program? Okay, a couple of you, y'all nodding, just real slow. But I was right. Leadership development traditionally done was only a Band-Aid over a bullet wound. It was very symptom driven, not sustainability or actually driven about people actually getting gains. So the humility to understand, okay, let me do user case for myself. But here was the other part that happened, the becoming. Learning that this was a loop. Learning is constant. Because now in year 5 of full-time business ownership, the very real reality that today, y'all, I should be somewhere else. But I had to remind myself earlier this week, I got a team for that. See, I ain't had that in 2020. But I got some hitters with me. And they taking care of the client stuff today, taking care of client meetings, they taking care of all the things so I could be here with y'all. Because they knew this was part of my strategy. Development of others. Putting my posters into practice by sharing and being humble enough to be here with you all because I know y'all got it in y'all. And the very selfish reason that I would love to have y'all on my team. I'm dead serious. But if I don't see it in your eyes when you come to talk to me, you're probably not going to progress past that. We just had a nice conversation. If I don't see continuous improvement as a part of your strategy, how can I have you with me? Because as me and one of the production crew were talking earlier, there's an evolution happening in our world today. I'm going to tell y'all right now, I'm recession and Donald Trump proof. I say that with my whole chest. Why? How did I get there? I had to learn what this was all about. I took myself back to school and got a PhD in organizational leadership. And what's happening in our world today, I truly understood that gap that I saw in leadership development is actually an ocean, and we have the solution. You can't mess with me. I know whose I am. And so that humility of understanding that I take up the spaces that are my spaces, and I ain't trying to force my way through no door. But I had to understand, and I had to now be open to feedback to get to this place. See, here's the problem. How many of y'all actually ask others for feedback? Raise your hand. Okay. How many of y'all actually use the feedback you gathered? Okay. Now, what if it was voluntold to you? You okay with that still? Some of y'all faces turned. Like you bet, look, and so it depends. So now you're trying to qualify it. Was it true or not? Here's the real reality. I have an executive leader right now who is literally getting feedback to her face about how unproductive she is. And she comes into coaching to defend, deny, and deflect. And she goes down the list of things that aren't true about their feedback. And then, where my coaches at in the room? Y'all gonna love this. Y'all can have this one. I go, what is true though? See, it's a simple question. You told me all the stuff that wasn't, but what was? And what you gonna do about the what was? See, this feedback, we need to reframe what we believe it is. Feedback's a gift. That feedback and the truth of what that feedback is needs to be a part of your strategy. One of the biggest things and the truths that I had to learn as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, even as a person, was that I was at the same time building a business, killing my business. I was choking it out. Why? Because I thought I was sales, delivery, talent acquisition, all the things. Because as HR professionals, ain't that what we do? Be all things to everybody. But if you really want to thrive and not be pulling your hair out, you need to figure out what's yours. And one thing, y'all, I can't stand. Anybody like administrative back-end work? Said no one ever. Nobody. So I fell in love with going to find who is in love with it. Anybody ever heard of the International Admins Association? I know. Y'all, this is a 70-plus-year-old association where these are highly qualified, highly certified, highly talented people that built their careers about supporting others. Y'all, my admin is a beast. Where my Dallas, Texas people at? Yeah, okay, yep. Who? My admin is out of Dallas. She's a monster. And I go to her meetings. She doesn't come to mine. I had to be open to having somebody that strong on my team. But I let her do her work. And anytime I'm in my inbox, she said, "You doing it again?" Feedback. Feedback don't gotta look like some formal in the conference room type of situation. It could look like, "Hey, you got 5 minutes?" You know I got 5 minutes. You looking at my calendar right now. She's like, "All right, calling. This just happened yesterday. Hey, really quick, I'm trying to move your calendar around." She playing Tetris with my calendar right now. She said, "This person is trying to get on your calendar. I don't need them on your calendar right now. I need them to be in November." I said, "Then do what you need to do." She was like, "All right." I guess she wanted more. She was like, "I work for other executives that want to know more about it." I was like, "We've talked enough. You know what I said is priority. If they paying, they get moved up in the calendar a little. If they just want to talk to me," she was like, "And I don't want you doing that many of those either." I said, "But I got this conference this week, and it's probably going to be people want to get on my calendar." She was like, "Send them to me." So those of you who want to get on my calendar, just know you're going to get sent to my admin. But the openness of feedback put us in this position, because here's the other real reality of this. Understanding that this strategy that we need to build, it opens you to this new reality. Who do you need to be in this season? Have you asked yourself, who do I need to be in this season? And can I become it where I'm currently planted? Can I become it where I'm currently planted? And if you need to shift, I call those coaches out for coaches. Raise your hand. Coaches, raise your hand. Make sure you identify one of these coaches you need to talk to during these breaks so you can get lined up. Because the idea is, if you would have done it or could have done it, you probably should have by now. But the real reality is there's a gap. Are you open to support? You trying to support me, but you're not open to support. That whole humility thing, coaching is the most humbling activity, personally and professionally, that you can go through. Because you might cry real thug tears when trying to navigate to your next level. And that's real. I've cried those ugly tears. I was open to the very real reality of what I was capable of and what I wasn't. But also understanding my lack of was actually a person or a resource or something that wasn't mine to do. Which leads us to this next part. Real recognize real. Transparently, if we're being honest, if you showed me what you value, would you actually be a good candidate? To be honest, if I actually went to your last 5 employers and truly asked them, in the shortest possible sentence, describe you, you know what they would say. And here's the other real reality. Your ego, your pride, and something in between is keeping you from actually using your voice. Not actually walking in what you're called to. I today am called to do organizational leadership effectiveness. And y'all like, man, that's a lot of big words. What does that mean? My whole life was built to help people be better together. It's my whole world. It's my whole reality. So I get to actively go inside organizations and disrupt. And they pay me for it. Go figure. I get a whole check to go mess up people. But here's the other part I'm good at. I use a velvet hammer. Anybody ever heard that phrase before? It hurt, but it's soft. Might leave a bruise, but you can put some lotion or some cocoa butter on it. But here's the part, though. Do you actually have the visibility to make the moves you said you want? Closed mouths don't get fed. There's a lot of people that could have been here, should have been here, but them same people in their performance review sessions at the end of the year talking about, but I didn't get an opportunity to. You didn't tell me that's what I was supposed to do. How many of y'all got children? Know a child? Anybody know some children? You know some kids? Okay, we got the board. You know a kid? You don't know no kids? You just, okay, all right, I appreciate you. I'm about to say she over here like, I don't know no kids. I'm like, did you used to be a child? Right? At some point in your life, were you a toddler, right? All right, now that we got the board covered, here's the thing. When a kid is hungry, how they ask for food? Can I? What? Huh? Whining. What else? Gimme. Yeah, I like it being good. Gimme. Eat. Yeah, look. That's the language. That's the language of a toddler. But here's the funny part. When they hungry, they ask for what they need. How many of y'all have been in an organization, you currently work for an organization, you have asked them for something that you need, and they have either said no or not been able to provide it? Like, Did you actually ascertain why they said no? Who has gone that far? A couple people? Yep. Those of you willing to say it out loud, what was the data point? What'd you find out? Why'd they say no? Budget? Here's the deal. I'm gonna tell y'all y'all ready for some truth? That's what we're here for, right? Transparently, I'm dealing with 2 companies right now that are not handing out promotions, but we just signed contracts. So here's the funny part. You asked for your little 3%. 3% of your salary is actually what? Now, I know those of you in here are highly compensated. There are some of you highly compensated, and that may be a significant number today. But it ain't what you actually worth. Ain't even close to it. So today, transparently, do you have the visibility? Have you created the voice? And do you have the actual value structure connected to your actual paydays that you have earned for yourself? Here's how we get there. Leadership is a trust economy. Trust at its foundation, understanding that clients prioritize trust. I'll give you a perfect example. Anybody been to Chick-fil-A? For what? They chicken ain't that good. But why? Why do we go back? I trust that if I'm in this line, I see all these cars. But I trust I ain't gonna be here long. and the waffle fries. Hey, all right, we're gonna get you some waffle. And again, the consistency, why? I can trust it. Here's the funny part. Are you Chick-fil-A? Are you consistent? Are you trusted? Are you the things you should be so an organization could actually say yes to you? Because here's the real reality. With all these reductions in force, somebody didn't have a meeting that you had. And they got a promotion. Why? And it ain't just because they go to cookouts together or they best friends. I know that's the default button, but they actually have relationship. And this model that I came out of my dissertation was in self-determination theory. This is an intrinsic value moment for you all. If you don't believe you, again, I won't. So today, are you taking autonomy of the things that you can? Do you have the agency and are you exercising it? Do you actually have the competence to move out and do the things? I said I wanted to be a trainer. I didn't wait for nobody I ain't gonna say their name, the organization I was at to figure that out. Me and a couple other folks that said we wanted to be in training and development, guess what we did? Internally, we created our own leadership conference and got sponsors internally. Nobody waiting on you, going through your little goofy process. No, we created. And then the relationships. See, some of y'all want stuff without the relationship. I don't know you like that. You, again, want me to hand a client over to you, and your employer wouldn't even give you a reference. Make that make sense. But if the intrinsic value of you doesn't come out outwardly, then y'all, what we doing? We said we're here. This is about the business of you. Be selfish today. Answer these questions for yourself. What are you actually committed to be, to do? Because here's the real reality. When I was doing my research and I started talking to these executives, I started talking to individual contributors, multi-level, multiple organizations from pharma to nonprofit. The very real reality is that these organizations are missing the key pieces to actually help you reach your highest potential. But they're not going to tell you that. Why? Because they don't want you to leave. But here's the very real reality. Retention and disengagement is a $85 billion issue already. How many of you today that are working at less than 80%? A couple of y'all. You are actively disengaged. If the level of your effort and work is less than 80%, you are actively disengaged. How many of y'all are way less than that? You ain't even want to raise your hand because you ain't hit my number. 50, 60, 70. Okay, got one. But here's the crazy part. What else you doing with that energy, that time, that excellence? There's a reimagining that needs to happen, y'all. There's a reimagining because they can't fulfill you when you've already disengaged. And this very real thing is stop taking tasks and start delivering outcomes for who? Yourself. I told y'all building past performance. You're building reputation. They've been mishandling you this whole time. Why do you think all of a sudden they're going to wake up with an epiphany that you're amazing? They're going to get it one day. No, they won't. Why? Because they think about themselves, because everybody the main character. You walking around with main character energy in somebody else's job. Goofy. Spend that time, that energy on yourself. This is about you creating outcomes that actually matter. And then, get to this part though. This is your dashboard. Anybody here would be considered a hothead from time to time? Anybody else? Thank you so much. Even though it was a little T-Rex, it was a little T-Rex. She got it, pow. It was quick though, I saw it. It was like, pow, me. Anybody formerly a crash out? Reformed? Everybody. If a crash out is someone who may or may not throw things at any given moment, right? Okay, just for any of y'all didn't know what a crash out was. All right. Emotional intelligence. How many of y'all heard it? How many of y'all practice it? So yeah, a lot of T-Rex in here today. So here's the thing. Self-awareness is key. How many of you believe you're self-aware? Could I pick up your phone and call anybody closest to you and ask them that question? And they would confirm. Which emotion would they confirm? All of them. They're all of them. But here's the crazy part, going over to self-regulation and self-management. But the biggest pieces for us today is, do you have the social capital? Do you have the empathy to extend to others? How many of y'all came here today to even flirt with the idea of being a consultant? How many of y'all I saw my business owner, okay? Here's the real reality, transparently. There's a resilience that needs to happen if you're going to be in business ownership. Because you own your time, but you also are dealing with multiple entities that are volatile at times, depending on the industry. And if you don't have the emotional intelligence, you might crash out on one of your clients. You might need to self-regulate when they tell you to change your program. This is why you don't fall in love, and you need to be resilient, and you know what you stand for, core values. Resilience through your core values, not just suck it up, dust yourself off. That's a part of it, but your core values in practice help you be more resilient. Mind, respect, integrity, service, and excellence, it stands for rise. What does that look like in practice? It looks like me standing up here knowing that I really need a nap. A whole nap. I'm talking about 4 hours. Y'all like, that's a long nap. No, that's a nap. Because I've been running hard. I'm on gas fumes right now. Why? Because we've been running, because the other part about this is having impact. I love what I do, y'all. Every single day I wake up to what I love. Getting to be here with y'all, beautiful faces, ready to actually learn, grow, engage in a meaningful way. What do you bring to the world? The business of you. When I come in your presence, do I feel that before you open your mouth? Y'all think it's just about your words. It's about your energy. I could feel it before you ever start bumping your gums. I can see it. I can see when you're scared. I can see when you're unsure. It's the coach in me. Call it my sixth sense. But I also know when it's time for us to push a little harder. Blame that on the Army officer in me. Because we do hard things every single day. You got what it takes. Here's the biggest piece, though. You got to lead without the title. This is built before you ever get assigned the ability to change your LinkedIn profile. You know, promotion is only a validation of work you've already done. It's actually not a validation if you're able to be successful in the role you got promoted to. Y'all realize that, right? They still rolling the dice on you when you get promoted internally. We hope they perform. You get promoted off of potential. Some of y'all thought it was performance. Silly rabbit. Here's the thing, though. You can do it before you get it. That actually gets you promoted faster. When they see it without them. Sierra wasn't playing. When they see your pictures and you outside, yo, they be like, we might need to give them a raise. They out there with all these different professionals from all these associations in Atlanta. They went all the way outside. Because everybody know if you're in Atlanta, they're like, oh man, it's opportunity. What you gonna show them? You tell the story before they tell it for you. Today, y'all, I want you to write right now, one commitment, one intention that you're gonna set for today. Capture it, whether it's in your phone or in the notebook that you have in front of you. One intention. Set one intention for today. Look back at me after you captured it. Here's the homework. During one of the breaks, tell somebody. If you don't want to tell somebody, you can tell me. I'll hold you accountable because I'm going to look at your LinkedIn. Go straight to your LinkedIn. All right? Here's the biggest piece here. What you build, how you present, that's your signature on the world. It's your imprint. And if you're not presenting the way you think you should, tap in. Get the support you need. Reach out to a coach. Reach out to a coworker. And if we're being honest, reach out to the therapist. I got them both. I got some stuff that I needed to lean with, rock with. I needed it because I wasn't imprinting the way that I thought I actually could. And I was right. Y'all, this acceleration that's happening in my company, I told you, full-time, 5 years. Our revenue has gone up 40% every year. That ain't accidental. That's intentional. That's why my admin playing Tetris with my calendar right now. She says, stop playing with me. You got 14 executive clients. Tell them no. They got to wait till next year. This is a real reality for us who actually do it our way. You got to build this. It's not going to be assigned to you. Some of you, you'll get lucky. You'll become a YouTube sensation, TikTok star. But for the rest of us, you got to build what you want. And the other parts about this is you got to lead you before you ask somebody else to. So y'all, thinking about this in a meaningful way, I appreciate y'all because leading the business of you, humility, openness, and transparency, that's what it's all about. Connect with me, lean in with me, tell somebody your intention during one of the breaks, and y'all, we gonna win together. Hey, all boats rise with the tide. I see y'all on the high side. Thank y'all.